That could potentially be our best insights.
I think so too. Yes. Yes. I'm proud of us.
Yes. Someone broke into my house last night. He was looking for cash. And you know what? I woke up and I offered my assistance. And regardless of our teamwork, we didn't find any cash.
Oh, you are so poor. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 11th video cast. I'm Wolfi, and as always, with me here is Elad. Elad, say hello. Yes.
Hello. Okay. Yes. This.
So we are both certified LeSS trainers, and we share our thoughts here in this video cast. We have our standard format: one topic, two questions, 5-minute time block each. And today's question or today's topic is feature teams.
Yay!
So let's assume we have a task a person can do on their own. And since you want to increase the throughput, you add more people to perform it. In my opinion, that doesn't make them a team. So the way we see it is that a team is a group of people who share a common goal, have shared boundaries, and are dependent on one another to fulfill this goal. And so a feature team is first of all a team, and then a team that has also all the needed skills and knowledge to solve the business problems for the organization or its customers. So it's cross-functional and cross-component. Furthermore, it is stable and long-lived. So I have a first question to you, Elad. Are you ready? Great. Should a single team be capable to work on any product backlog item? And if yes, how can they learn all that stuff?
Ooh. Well, I'll start with the short answer. All right. So should the team be able to work on anything? The answer is yes. How can they do it? With a lot of patience. That's like the short answer. Okay. So now for the longer answer, I do have 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. So as an organization that wants to be agile, right? We are talking about LeSS, and it's for organizations that want to be agile. One of our key optimization goals is to focus on maximizing long-term value creation for the customer, or profitability, which I think are in some way similar, but not exact. So, and this is a critical ability to have as an organization that wants to succeed. Not having that ability of being able for a team to work in an area in which they are not familiar with will result in a situation where teams are forced is maybe not the best word, but are requested to work on lower priority items, which means that they don't have the ability to contribute value or enough value to the organization. And that is a problem. And of course, in the long run, that problem only becomes worse because the silos are closed and the learning is basically not existent. By the way, this is what happened a lot now in COVID times. The learning dropped to zero. Now, this is very bad for business. As a business owner, I would like to avoid it. And as a consultant, I often ask my customers, do you prefer working on the wrong things fast or working on the fast things slow? Right? Like that's a trade-off that you have to choose from. And in my opinion, it's also, if you choose the slow path, if you choose the long-term approach, if you choose the sustainable approach, you also get a side benefit. Since every time a team takes on an uncharted territory kind of work, a new type of work, what happens is that they learn to get to know a new area of the code or of the product. And that increases the agility because next time I have now two options, right? So long-term thinking, I get more options and more flexibility, which is basically what we are looking for with trying to become an agile organization. Want to increase the level of agility by having more options to create more value. I think that now the how, right? You ask how to do it, how to take on a team that has multiple, an organization that has multiple teams and need to take on new areas in order to be able to satisfy priority. So I think the short answer was pretty good. So just patience, let them learn, let them take their time and learn. And then the question is, how can we accelerate that? Because we want to accelerate learning wherever we can. Of course, not too fast, not to push anyone over the edge, but accelerate it. So here are like my favorite go-to ideas that I often use when working with customers. The first one is collaborate. Talk with other teams, find other teams that are already familiar with this area because they have created value in that area or developed features in that area, and just talk to them and ask them, how should we approach the problem? We don't know anything, so where should we start? Give us some pointers, maybe some training, maybe some knowledge sharing, maybe some design workshops, I don't know, whatever. But I think if there's a team that is familiar, go do it. The other side of the spectrum is that when the work is completely fresh, no work has been done in the organization in that area ever before. So you could, of course, always use external help and consultants and amplify learning with that. But another option is just take a bite. And it's a guide and just create just one end-to-end short feature and learn from that. And that will highlight a lot of unknowns. And time is up. Okay, I like this timer. Sorry. So, Wolfi, in your experience, and you have some experience, what is the hardest thing about adopting a feature team-based organization? And why is that so hard? Okay.
Okay, tough question. Well, I think the hardest thing is to get the decision makers convinced to move away from an organization which is optimized for efficiency and busyness towards an organization which is optimized for adaptiveness or agility and flow. In other words, to initiate the change from a specialist organization where people are working in silos towards a feature team-based organization. So to make this first step. And once this decision is done, then of course, and this is hopefully with the consent of the entire organization so that management doesn't push it to the organization, the decision makers must retain from their old habits. They are typically still existing. And then they would do the redesign. So that's the next thing. So that actually, unless we suggest to have a self-designing team workshop as one way to create this new organization, so that the workshop would then be open to the people so they can decide in which team they actually are working. That requires a little bit of preparation, such as, for example, defining what is your product. Now, this might sound very trivial, but my experience is that isn't. No? Most organizations have a technical product definition, so it doesn't fulfill the criteria of having, or the principles what we have in LeSS of being a whole product focus and customer centricity. So those are then violated, and so that is something we have to work on. So what I have experienced in my life is that the creation of a feature team-based organization happens within a few hours. So it took one afternoon, and in the evening we had a new organization. However, this takes about 2 or 3 weeks of preparation time. So you have to define your product, you have to prepare this workshop and so on. But then basically you can go for this. And some of the reasons why this might be so hard is that the first one is that decision makers are simply afraid to make this decision. So that if you have an organization of 50 or 60 people and you would like to do this kind of workshop, that is just too much. The managers very often think they need to be in charge, they need to be in control, and it would mean that they need to let go from this control, at least for this workshop now, and let the people decide with whom they work together. And that is already too much. And then another thing is that I think managers don't understand the benefits of feature teams. So as you described, you might work on the low priority item, and but they simply don't get it still. How could this help for this problem? So they cannot imagine this, basically, how this could work. One idea, of course, how to do this is through simulations, to playing games, so that then basically they can experience this for themselves in a safe environment. And that might be a way to take away this fear. Then, of course, people will need to learn the new skills and competences, and they will need to learn new ways to cooperate between teams, and there might be technical problems. So that now, if they have to work on the same code basis, they have to share components, there might be integration problems, all this build system isn't there. So that's why we say a continuous integration and a robust build system will help you a lot in adopting feature teams. And this is time for learning. So this might be very difficult in this transition time. And there is a very high risk that people fall back in their old habits too quickly. So they don't have the patience, as you already mentioned, to keep on learning and keep on doing, investigating this stuff. And then I think that the decision makers or the PO management, whoever, is simply afraid again that this takes too much time. This learning takes too long or too intensive, and we have to do new features at the same time, new functionality. And I'm typically like the comparison with bicycle. Very much organizations are having a bicycle, but they're pushing it besides them. So what it would need is to stop for a short moment, climb on, learn how to ride, and then they would really get speed in the organization and drive into a better future. But that step needs to be taken.
And time.
Okay, some insights. Well, I'm still struggling with this. If it's so obvious, and I think to me it is very obvious, that if you do not have feature team-based organization, then you will not always work on highest value. You will do low value stuff. Isn't that already reason enough to go this step? But obviously it isn't, and I just don't understand.
If I'd like to respond to that, I think I almost have never encountered a meeting with someone who was not familiar enough with the feature team model, and after explaining that to him and the benefits, I always get, of course it's better. The question is what comes after that. Yeah. So I think everybody agrees that this is a better model, and then the way that they deal with to push back, the way to resist is but it will never work in my organization.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it makes sense, and then they say, no, that is idealism, that is utopia, it doesn't happen in real life. Mm-hmm. And of course that goes back to, I think, my insights. So I'm gonna push my insights right now regarding what you said. You said about people are afraid. There is this fear. And while listening to you, I think I got a moment of clarity. In my opinion, it's the fear is driven by lack of trust. Let me give you an example. If I would like to perform a bungee jump, and I will not ask you, Wolfi, to tie the ropes, right? Because I don't trust you enough with my destiny, with my fate. So I'll go and find a professional or somebody that I trust, right? So I think the management often just has very low levels of trust in the
Yeah.
teams, in their ability to learn, in their ability to self-organize. And of course, that is a double-edged sword. If you don't trust someone, you won't get responsibility.
Yeah.
I think that is my main insight. When you said afraid, I thought came into my head. So
Yeah.
I think that is my insight.
Okay.
And I don't know how to go about building that trust as a generic solution. It's a lot about openness, transparency, lack of blame, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. But that, yes, I think that nails it very much, so that the lack of trust between decision makers maybe and teams is organization as it is now.
Which goes back to Taylorism, I guess.
Absolutely, that just popped also in my head, yeah, because the behavior the people show right now is a theory X behavior because of the system, and yes, that is exactly the point. So you see the behavior and you think this is what you get with feature teams, and then of course it won't work. Yeah, but you don't understand that the behavior is changing if you change towards feature teams, and then it will work.
So maybe there's a kind of a competition here between, or a fake dependency between a more theory Y kind of culture and feature teams, or the adoption or the change.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you everybody for watching. I know some people watch it. We do get some feedback, so we enjoy doing that, and I think Wolfi and I also have fun doing that. So
Absolutely.
It's everybody's benefit. If you have any requests or suggestions or comments, please do so, and we'll see you again next time at number 12. Wow, dozen.
See you then. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.